We're talking explosiveness today for UGA for next year, next season. And who on this team is Mr. Explosive, who has that power just to take over a game and take the ceiling off and say, here I come, next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? I am Daniel. That is Clint. This is the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. We're doing more superlatives today. If you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, we talked about the most consistent player on Georgia's roster. These are our projections, of course, for the 2022 season. Clint brought up an offensive lineman. I went with a wide receiver, and you can go back and listen to that. All the podcasts are on audio, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on those apps. Leave us a rating and review. We appreciate all of that. And then find us on YouTube. Drop us a comment. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. All those things help the videos do better. And we appreciate all of that. So, Clint, let's jump into this. As we did yesterday, we'll spend the first segment just kind of talking about who our explosive players are, and then one of us will kind of defend our pick in the second segment. The other will defend their pick in the third segment. But first, maybe just what constitutes an explosive player in your mind?
Yeah, this is going to be wildly interesting because I think what we think when we say explosive, we automatically go to the offensive side of the ball. It's just where your brain goes. And that's not what we mean by explosive. What I mean by explosive is that at any given moment on any given play, this player can just determine, I'm going to be the one of 22 on this field right now. And no one else is going to stop me from doing whatever I want to impose onto you at any given moment. Now, sometimes that could be a go route. That could be a George Pickens just saying, you know what, hooty hoo, I'm over here. Let's go. Grab that touchdown. It could be things like that. But it could also be a player on defense, Jordan Davis, saying, you know what? You're not going to get another yard right now. It's 3rd and 3, and you're going to run that little off tackle. That's cute. I'm here to stop you at whatever cost. That's what I mean by explosive, Daniel.
That's an explosive play. And I think we need to be clear about that. A tackle for a 1 yard gain on 3rd and 3 is an explosive play. Now, it doesn't necessarily constitute an explosive play by whatever metrics, but that's what we're saying. I think the person that epitomizes this the best is that there's no argument. One of the most explosive players in the history of the University of Georgia football is Jarvis Jones, outside linebacker Jarvis Jones, because Jarvis Jones had the ability to just end a game, as you're saying. He had the ability to just shut it all down and say, this game is over now. Go home, Missouri. We're finished. That's it. And that's what an explosive player is in our minds. And so who you got, Clint? Who are you taking as your 2022 most explosive player on Georgia?
I had the field. I had the floor last time, Daniel. The floor is yours to begin this.
Okay. So I debated many names here. And I won't name them because I don't know. Maybe you're gonna
to go through.
Maybe you're gonna choose one. But at the end of the day,
okay,
what are we choosing, Clint?
Guy who says,
tell me.
I take over on any given play, no matter what my position is.
Are we choosing a quite explosive player? A
the most
significantly Okay.
Nope, keep going.
The most explosive player on the team.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, his name's Brock Bowers. And so
It's-
I could try to get cute with it. I could try to dance around this way and that way, but I'm going to take the most explosive player on Georgia's roster, and that is the guy who literally, listen carefully, Alabama fans,
Okay, please.
literally cannot be covered by any team, anywhere, at any time, with any quarterback throwing him the ball. That is the definition of an explosive takeover type player.
Now
So I'll
look,
take
here,
Brock Bowers.
Okay, it's Brock. Let me cut. It's Brock Bowers. Okay, everybody. His name is
But
Brock
we're going to
Bowers.
play the game. We're going to play
We're
the game.
going to play the game, and I'm going to play a weird game because again, look, Jalen Carter is an abject beast, and he could determine at any the explosiveness there is incredible to me.
Sure.
But Daniel,
Not gonna go there.
I'm not going to go there. And
It's
I'm gonna go
not
to the
best player.
No,
It's not best player.
it's not. I'm going to go to a guy that this coming year, I think he will determine and say, I think half the field is going to be persona non grata to quarterbacks this coming year. Because I think Keely Ringo is the most explosive player on this team. And it was not just the Chip Six that sealed that championship. I'm here to tell you, I think this man, tall, lean, muscular, fast, is just going to say, nope, not on this side. Go elsewhere. Go have fun. Keely Ringo is my pick for most explosive. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about that. We're each going to give our opportunity. But first, I want to let you know about BetOnline. BetOnline is your sportsbook experts. They have every single thing that you need to bet on NBA, on hockey. If y'all out there just sadistic as all get out. Intern, executive producer Sherpa Michael has told us that he's betting on baseball games now, which, like, again,
M-dubs, come home. Stop. Come home.
Look, there are two things that I refuse. Regular season point spreads NBA. Nope, I'm not doing it. Give me a 3-team, 4-team parlay. I'll do that all day long. And baseball. No, thank you. You might be able to get a total runs out of me. Maybe.
But the NBA Finals is on, Clint. You don't have to bet on baseball. This is what we're saying. You don't have to bet on baseball.
The NBA Finals are there. This is fantastic. Go ahead, look at that spread. Go ahead. They're going back to Boston. Whatever that spread is, going to be a closer game than people imagine. BetOnline is your sportsbook experts. Daniel and I go there. They're the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts. Get over there right now. BetOnline, your sportsbook experts. Daniel, you have the floor to defend your pick of Brock Bowers being the most explosive player for this coming year. And there's not look.
I don't need the floor. I don't need to defend it. I dare you to jump in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong about this. All right. Brock Bowers, again, this is the second player that I'm choosing that was a true freshman last year. A.D. Mitchell and Brock Bowers, true sophomores this season. But as a true freshman, in case you forgot, Brock Bowers had 56 receptions for 882 yards
That seems
and 13 touchdowns.
Seems high.
How good Brock Bowers is. Because, look, is it impressive that he had 100 yards receiving against Georgia Tech? If you have 100 yards receiving in a college football game, that's fairly impressive. Is it impressive that against Georgia Tech he had 100 yards receiving on 3 catches? Yes. Anytime you average 33 1/3 yards receiving over the course of a game, that's fairly impressive. Is it impressive that against Georgia Tech he had a 77-yard touchdown reception where he just turned on the jets and 2 Georgia Tech safeties thought they were converging on him and they were not? Yes, of course it is impressive. But anybody can do that against Georgia Tech. I mean, for the love of Pete, Geoff Collins is the coach of Georgia Tech. They are lifting weights on the sidelines, Clint.
I
They're
just can't.
lifting
I
weights
can't.
on, well, you won't have to for much longer because there is not a chance in this world that Jeff Collins survives this year, even
No.
on the flats of Atlanta. That's not what stands out to me about Brock Bowers. What stands out to me about Brock Bowers is that in the last 3 games of the season, Alabama lost in the SEC championship game, Michigan win in the Orange Bowl, Alabama win in the national championship game. Brock Bowers had 19 receptions for 220 plus yards and 3 touchdowns in the 3 biggest games of the season when everything was on the line. Brock Bowers did not fade into the background, but he rather rose to the forefront. This is the definition of an explosive player, a player that says, I'm going to do everything possible to help this team win this game right now. And listen to me. If the defense had gotten 1 or 2 stops in the second quarter of the Alabama game, that defense that you keep telling me is the only reason we won the national championship, if the defense had gotten even 1 stop in that second quarter of the SEC championship game, Brock Bowers almost brought us all the way back in that thing. That game got way more interesting than Alabama fans would like to have you believe.
Daniel, they blew us out. They blew us
all out. Because of Brock Bowers. He's the guy. He's the weapon. He cannot be defended.
Again, I am taking the position that we cannot have agreement like this because it makes for a really, 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 really boring podcast. But Brock Bowers is the most explosive player in all of college football, and there's no question. You cannot convince me otherwise. And if you do, again, just like Billy Ellis, who says that Notre Dame and Clemson, I'm going to harp on you. By the way, Billy, you're my new Trevor for a good solid 2 weeks, brother.
Welcome. Change your name to Trevor. It's fine.
Okay. Trevor Ellis. I don't know. Whatever. I'll workshop it later. We'll figure something out.
We'll get that.
If you don't understand that Brock Bowers is the best explosive player in all of college football, I cannot help you. You are foolish. But I'm going to come back and tell you why Keely Ringo should be in consideration for that right after this.
All right, Clint. Brock Bowers, obvious choice. You went a little deep in the weeds here.
I went deep in the weeds because, in all honesty, I actually think Christopher Smith.
I thought about Christopher Smith.
He could have been my pick for the last 2 episodes, Mr. Consistent and Mr. Explosive.
Because I think he would have. He was almost my pick for Mr. Consistent. I think he's a better pick for that, but could have been either. You're right.
Could have been either. I mean, if you look at the film, if you watch what this guy does in coverage and you watch him come up in the alley, I know that we've had Richard LeCount. I know we've had other safeties. I know we had Lewis Seen, who's the assassin. I get it. But if you look at Christopher Smith's tackling ability, he wasn't asked to do Richard LeCount, Lewis Seen type things because we had those guys, but he can do it when given the chance. He has incredible range back there. But Keely Ringo, to me, is the most explosive because of this reason. You get a guy like Brock Bowers on another team, which there aren't any, but a guy that's 3 steps below him over there. And you tell me, you give me the option, you're going to take somebody's best wide receiver or Keely Ringo and ask me which one I'm going to choose over the course of the game. I know where my money is going, and it's on Keely Ringo. And I think the type of player that he is last year, this is actually dogscentral.com. Our boys over there gave us these stats. Keely Ringo had a reception percentage of 40.7. The next closest on Georgia was 64.3. That's last year. Christopher Smith, 64.7. Yards per throw, Keely Ringo, 5.9, 4 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. And that's playing within the confines of an entire year against the SEC. But this next year's group is going to be better defensively, and Keely Ringo is going to be better defensively. He was a full-time starter last year.
He's a true freshman, Clint.
He had all them reps. He had all that time over there. And you're telling me Keely Ringo, given the opportunity, to get more in the weight room, more in the system. He was that good. He was one of our best defenders. I actually think Christopher Smith was probably our best defensive back last year. Not the case this year. This coming year, Keely Ringo is just going to explode whenever he wants to. And if you don't understand how getting in a back pedal, planting your foot, driving on the ball on a 7-yard hitch, and breaking it up with 2.1 second read is not explosive, watch more football. Please
You're not
watch
an
more
athlete.
football. No, you
You're
have
not
no
an
clue.
athlete.
You would tear your Achilles just thinking about it normally, okay? Keely
Correct.
Ringo does this on a regular basis. I think he's going to have more explosive plays that are going to come down to lockdown type corner aspects. One half of the field is gone. We're going to have so much more fun with blitzing and bringing pressures because of that fact. He can be put on an island and it's going to be piece of cake just fine. He can high point a ball. He can turn his hips and run. He is a mirror image of, he can run with Arian and he can try to jump up against Brock. Don't ask me which one I'm putting my money in, because I don't like my
He
odds in
can't
that.
be defended by anyone.
I know. But that is why I'm going Keely Ringo, most explosive. He's going to be a stud this coming year. Watch out.
Keely Ringo, A.D. Mitchell, Brock Bowers, all these guys we're talking about, all true freshmen last year. Not first-round picks in the NFL draft.
No.
True freshmen.
I forget.
All
Are they
going
coming back?
to be better. No, they're not coming back because Georgia has a transfer portal problem.
Oh, yes.
They're all transferring out to other schools, just like Amarius Mims. Hold on. No, I'm just now hearing Amarius Mims actually coming back to Georgia. And, so are all the other significant starters. So,
by the way,
okay.
Sorry, we'll save that for another time. I have some stats on Burton, by the way. I'm gonna save it for another time.
I saw some of these lists of like preseason all SEC teams.
Uh-huh.
I was shocked that I did not see Jermaine Burton's name on any of these lists because he is the best wide receiver that Alabama has. Therefore, that anyone in college football has.
By the way, Bama fan, just for a moment, think about that. You're telling me he's the best wide receiver on your team, which we're not disputing. We're not fighting.
No,
we agree 1,000%.
We're just saying he wouldn't be the best wide receiver on our team if he was on our team.
Okay, well, as long as we understand each other.
Okay. Honorable mentions. I could have gone. I almost went Robert Beal, most explosive. I almost went Nolan Smith, most explosive. I had half a mind, Clint, to go Dejon Edwards, most explosive, but I couldn't do it with a straight face.
Daniel, go look at his stats receiving.
But I had half a mind.
Yep. He averages over 20 yards per reception last year. Just so we're fully understanding of what Dejon. I hear what you're saying. Lots and lots of contenders, lots and lots of people to go through. Pops, Dumas Johnson. Like we might look. Come back tomorrow.
Coming back for the guy that brings the pain. The guy that knows how to lay the wood, the guy that knows how to hit you in the mouth. Come back tomorrow. We're giving out that superlative here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll see you all then.
See you.